So, Donald Trump just went on Fox News and gave what can only be described as a completely unhinged interview about the U.S. invasion of Venezuela, and he didn't even try to dress it up. According to Trump, this whole thing is basically about oil, not democracy, not freedom, oil, period. He even brushed off the fact that China had special envoys in Venezuela, saying it doesn't really matter because the U.S. will figure out how to handle the oil anyway. Translation? We'll deal with China later. First, the oil. Meanwhile, more details are coming out about what actually happened on the ground. Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores were reportedly taken during a late-night raid. According to journalist Natasha Bertrand, U.S. Delta Force operators dragged Maduro and Flores out of their bedroom during the raid. No warning, no negotiations, straight out of a Hollywood action movie. They were then put on a U.S. ship and are now being transported to New York. This is where things shift from operation to courtroom drama. The U.S. Department of Justice has already filed an indictment against them. Full details are still coming out, but the message is pretty clear. And then Trump gets asked about the future of Venezuela, specifically its oil industry. His answer? We're going to be strongly involved in the Venezuelan oil industry now. No subtlety, no euphemisms, no pretending this is about anything else. And at that point, Fox rolls the clip. Watch it carefully. Because it's one of those moments where you're not quite sure if you're watching a news interview or a sketch from late-night TV.
The countries that negotiate with Venezuela for that illegal oil are already starting to suffer. What do you see as the future of Venezuela's oil industry?
Well, I see that we're going to be very strongly involved in it. That's all. I mean, what can I say? We have the greatest oil companies in the world, the biggest, the greatest, and we're going to be very much involved in it. We can't do something like this, and we're prepared. You know, we were prepared to do a second wave. We were all set, and this was so lethal, this was so powerful that we didn't have to, but we're prepared. We're out there with an armada like nobody's ever seen before, and we're prepared, and frankly, probably thought we were going to have to do it, but we were prepared for a second wave going in.
And then Trump gets asked about the Chinese envoys who were reportedly in Venezuela at the time the raid, or let's be honest, the invasion, was carried out. You'd think that might be a serious geopolitical concern, major global power, competing interests, possible fallout. Trump's response? Basically, not a problem. According to him, China will still get oil, so there's nothing to worry about. As if global energy politics works like sharing fries at the table, everyone gets some, no need to argue. Then he shrugs it off and moves on like this is all already settled. Here, watch the clip.
Mr. President, what do you make of the fact that just hours before the airstrike, there was a Chinese delegation meeting with Nicolas Maduro, and we have yet to hear from China any sort of comment on the attacks?
I know nothing about that, but I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and there's not going to be a problem. And they're going to get oil. We're going to allow people to have oil. But we can't take a chance after having done this incredible thing last night of letting somebody else take over, where we have to do it again. We can do it again, too. Nobody can stop us. There's nobody that has the capability that we have. You know, when I watch that war in Russia going on and on and on and everybody dying, and it's like, it's primitive. It's primitive. It's horrible. It's really horrible.
Could you tell it?
I'll play more clips in a minute, including one where Trump openly threatens Mexico and hints it could be next. But first, listen to how he talks about the invasion of Venezuela. Trump describes it like a TV show. He says he watched it the same way you'd watch a series and calls it amazing, not because of the results, but because of the speed and the violence. Here's the clip.
So you've had quite a busy evening. Tell us about it.
It was slightly busy, I would say. It was very dark all over, especially in Venezuela. The team did an incredible job. They rehearsed and practiced like nobody's ever seen. And I was told by real military people that there's no other country on earth that can do such a maneuver. If you would have seen what happened, I mean, I watched it literally like I was watching a television show. And if you would have seen the speed, the violence, you know, they say that, the speed, the violence, they use that term. It was an amazing thing, an amazing job that these.
Trump then claims that no Americans were killed during the operation, though he admits some were injured. He says a few guys got hit and suggests that maybe even a helicopter took a hit too. Notice the wording, believes maybe. Very confident, very precise. Here, play the clip.
You know, that we had nobody killed was amazing. I think we had nobody killed, I have to say, because a couple of guys were hit, but they came back and they're supposed to be in pretty good shape. But that we had nobody killed, that we lost no aircraft. You know, everything came back. We got it all back. One of them was hit pretty hard, but a helicopter, but we got it back. But it just was the right time to do it. We had to do it because it's a war. We're losing 300,000 people.
At the same time, it does look like there were civilian casualties in Venezuela. The exact numbers are still unclear, and reporting is ongoing, but there do appear to be fatalities on the ground. Trump, however, quickly shifts gears. Instead of addressing that, he goes after Democrats. According to him, they shouldn't be questioning whether the operation was constitutional. They shouldn't be raising concerns at all. In Trump's view, they should just say, wow, great job, thank you. Anything else he says is just the same old talking points. Here's the clip.
The Democrats, maybe they'll take a shot. You know, they'll take a shot. Oh, all they do is complain. They don't talk about, they should say, you know what, we did a great job. We're stopping drugs from coming into this country. And nobody's been able to do it until we came along. But they should say, great job. They shouldn't say, oh, gee, maybe it's not constitutional. You know, the same old stuff that we've been hearing for years and years and years.
While all of this is happening, J.D. Vance also jumps in and basically confirms what everyone already figured out. This invasion was about oil. Vance writes that Trump supposedly offered multiple off-ramps, but made one thing very clear. Drug trafficking had to stop, and the stolen oil had to be returned to the United States. He adds that Maduro is just the latest person to learn that Trump means what he says, and congratulates U.S. special operators for what he calls a truly impressive operation. Just pay attention to the wording here. A special operation to take back oil they stole. That phrasing sounds very familiar, almost Putin-esque. At the same time, we're now hearing from Senator Mark Warner, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, who says he was not briefed at all. Neither the Senate nor the House was informed. According to Warner, this was flat out unconstitutional. Warner issued the following statement. Our Constitution places the gravest decisions about the use of military force in the hands of Congress for a reason. Using military force to enact regime change demands the closest scrutiny precisely because the consequences do not end with the initial strike. If the United States asserts the right to use military force to invade and capture foreign leaders, it accuses of criminal conduct. What prevents China from claiming the same authority over Taiwan's leadership? What stops Vladimir Putin from asserting similar justification to abduct Ukraine's president? Once this line is crossed, the rule that restrains global chaos begin to collapse, and authoritarian regimes will be the first to exploit it. None of this absolves Maduro. He is a corrupt authoritarian who has repressed his people, stolen elections, and imprisoned political opponents, and presided over humanitarian catastrophe that has forced millions of Venezuelans to flee. The Venezuelan people deserve democratic leadership, and the United States and the international community should have done far more years ago to press for a peaceful transition after Maduro lost a vote of his own citizens. But recognizing Maduro's crimes does not give any president the authority to ignore, the Constitution. And then Trump goes right back to his Fox News interview. Talking about Delta Force, Trump says you basically couldn't hold them back. According to him, they were so excited to carry out this invasion that they couldn't wait to get started. Here, play this clip.
Think about it, and you almost couldn't hold them back. It was like they wanted to go so badly, and most people would have said, I'll take a pass. I know that Charlie would have wanted to go because Charlie's a very brave person, but I know a lot of other people would have said, I think I'll pass on this one. Let's watch it on television. It's been amazing to see how good they were, how professional they were, how incredible the equipment we have is. I mean,
meanwhile, it's also worth noting that Diosdado Cabello, the Interior Minister, and, as reporter Thomas Van Linge puts it, the real enforcer of the Maduro regime, has now appeared publicly, very much alive, very much free. So any reports about his death or capture? Not true. Cabello is the guy people usually point to as the muscle behind the regime, and his public appearance is a clear message. the power structure didn't just magically disappear overnight. At the same time, Maduro appointed governors across several states, Bolivar, Aragua, Táchira, and others, have all released statements saying they're still in control. According to them, even with Maduro gone, they're firmly running their territories. The intelligence service and the defense minister are saying the same thing. We're still here. We're still in charge. On the ground, though, the mood looks very different. Thomas Van Linge reports lines forming outside grocery stores in several Caracas neighborhoods, including Los Palos Grandes in the east. People are stocking up on food, clearly bracing for what they think could be some very tense days ahead. And then we're back to that Fox News interview. This is where things take another sharp turn. Trump starts talking about Mexico, and not subtly. He basically warns that Mexico could be next, directly calling out President Claudia Sheinbaum like it's a casual aside. Here, play the clip.
Good woman, but the cartels are running Mexico. She's not running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. And we could be politically correct and be nice and say, oh, yes, she is. No, she's very, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please. So we have to do something because we lost. The real number is 300,000 people, in my opinion. They like to say 100,000. 100,000 is a lot of people, but the real number is 300,000 people. And we lost it to drugs, and they come in through the southern border, mostly the southern border. Plenty come in through Canada, too, by the way, in case you don't know. But they come in through the southern border, and something's going to have to be done with Mexico.
Trump is asked if he's going to throw his support behind opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, and he responds, well, kind of. He starts talking about the vice president in Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, and of course can't even remember her name. Classic. Then he quickly pivots to attacking the 2020 election. According to Trump, the election was rigged. That's how Maduro got into power. And naturally, Biden's election was also rigged. That's how Biden beat him. So in Trump world, Maduro rising to power is basically exactly the same thing as Biden winning in 2020. Logic, optional. Facts, optional. Here, play the clip.
Are you going to fully support her to take over to run the country?
Well, we're going to have to look at it. Right now, they have a vice president, as you know. I mean, I don't know about what kind of an election that was, but, the election of Maduro was a disgrace, just like my election was a disgrace. 2020 was a disgrace, and, a real disgrace. Now, 2024 was too big to rig. But what he did was, his was open. I would say, frankly, you want to know the truth? I think Charlie would testify this. It wasn't a hell of a lot worse than what they did to us in 2020. It was our election was a disgrace in 2020.
Then Trump cracks a little joke during the Fox and Friends morning show about all this chaos. When they ask him, what did you decide to do this morning? Trump just goes, you mean give you a call here? Like, yeah, totally casual. Treating a military invasion like a phone call with your buddies. Play this clip.
Why did you decide to do this morning?
Are you talking about calling you people or the shot?
No, taking out
I'm not sure.
Maduro.
I'm not sure which is worse. If you want to know the truth. Yeah.
Next, Trump turns his sights on Democratic Congress member Jim McGovern, and of course, he doesn't hold back. Let me share this with you.
You're already getting reaction from members of Congress on both sides. One Democrat, Jim McGovern, is saying that you did not get authorization from Congress. And he says Trump just launched an unjustified illegal strike on Venezuela. Wanted to get your reaction to that.
Well, look, these are weak, stupid people, and they're trying to save themselves from almost destroying our country. If I didn't get elected, our country would not. I don't even think we'd have a country right now. We were heading down the path of destruction. We had inflation. We had high prices. They're the ones that caused high prices, not us. We're bringing the prices way down. We have oil now in many places $1.99 a gallon. And when you do oil, everything follows, but everything is following. But no, they would have destroyed our country if we didn't get elected. If Kamala or a Joe type got elected, if that group got elected. But if Kamala got elected, I don't think at this point we would even have a country. We were laughed at all over the world. The money was flowing out. Everybody was leaving. The companies were leaving. The people were leaving. The wealth was leaving. We have $18 trillion coming back into our country, the biggest number in the history of the world.
And then Trump takes it to another level. He claims one reason the U.S. invaded Venezuela is because they supposedly emptied mental institutions and asylums into the United States. Yep. Apparently, in Trump's mind, there's no difference between insane asylums and political asylum. Here, play this clip.
But look, tremendous numbers of people were being killed through drugs. And what they did to our country in sending prisoners and people from mental institutions and drug lords and everything, they sent them by the hundreds of thousands of people into our country. And that is just unforgivable. That's why, he wanted to negotiate at the end, and I didn't want to negotiate. I said, nope, we got to do it. He was trying to negotiate at the end. You probably saw that. And trying hard to make a deal. And I said, this could have been a very foolish thing if it didn't work out. But I said, nope, we can't do it. What he did with drugs is bad. What he did with a lot of other things is bad. But what he did was sending hundreds of thousands of Tren de Aragua and drug dealers. And they emptied out their jails into our country. They emptied out, if you think about it, they emptied out all of their mental institutions into our country. What he did there, and every other thing, is unforgivable.
So basically, when people from Venezuela try to seek political asylum, Trump seems to think they're coming from mental institutions. In his world, it's all the same. Mental asylum, political asylum, whatever. He also claims that the invasion of Venezuela, was planned 4 days ago, but the timing had to be shifted because of the weather. Here, play this clip.
So we were going to do this 4 days ago, but the weather was not perfect. The weather has to be perfect. And we had just the perfect weather. We had, very good. A little bit few more clouds than we thought, but it was good. We waited 4 days. We were going to do this 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And then all of a sudden it opened up and we said go.
Trump also brings up another one of his greatest hits, referring to the earlier attack on Iran. Here, play this clip from earlier this year.
We did another one not so long ago. It was called the knocking out of the Iranian nuclear threat, the nuclear power. And that was unbelievable what they did there. And this is something that, I don't know, it's amazing. And to have a few injuries, but no death on our side is really amazing.
Then Trump keeps going on about how the military had to bust through steel doors during the operation. Here, play this clip.
Broke in and they broke into places that were not really able to be broke into, with steel doors that were put there for just this reason, and they got taken out in a matter of seconds. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
And you were able to watch this in real time?
Yeah, and don't forget, I've done some pretty good ones in other parts of the world, okay? I've done some pretty good ones, but I've never seen anything like this. I was able to watch it in real time, and I watched every aspect.
We've got a copy of the indictment right now, freshly unsealed. It's from Pam Bondi, and it's the United States of America versus Nicolas Maduro. You see it right there. His wife, Celia Flores, is named too. Notably, the indictment also includes Diosdado Cabello Rondon. Remember him? The enforcer we were talking about earlier, still at large. Other names, Hector Ruther Rutherford, Guerra Flores, and a few more, all indicted by the Department of Justice in the Southern District of New York. Fun fact, that's also where the Epstein case was handled and where Trump claims he just discovered 1.2 million Epstein records. Classic. On the international side, the French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian weighed in, saying that this military operation capturing Maduro violates the principles of non-use of force under international law. So yeah, France is not thrilled. Pam Bondi also released a statement noting that Maduro is being charged with narco-terrorism, weapons possession, and other crimes. We'll keep you updated every step of the way, so hit subscribe and stay tuned.